Zionist colonization must either stop or else proceed regardless of the native population. That was written in 1923 by Ze'ev Jabotinsky, the intellectual godfather of Israel's ruling Likud party. He calls it colonization. His word, not mine. He acknowledges a native population. His words, not mine. And he says it must proceed regardless, meaning by force. So why do Zionists say there was no native population in Palestine? A 2020 genetic study by researchers from Harvard Medical School, Hebrew University, and Tel Aviv University found that modern Palestinian Arabs' genome is 81 to 87% Bronze Age Canaanite. The people we call Palestinian Arabs did not come from Arabia. They adopted Arabic just as they had adopted Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek before it. They adopted the region's successive religions, from ancient Canaanite polytheism through Yahwism, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. That history is recorded in the DNA of the Palestinian people. Even before the genetic science, Ottoman Nufus and British Mandate records made clear that the Palestinians were not recent immigrants. Justin McCarthy, whose landmark study, The Population of Palestine, remains the most systematic demographic examination of the Nufus registers ever conducted, refuted the claim of a mass 19th century influx of Egyptians, Algerians, Bosnians, and Circassians. McCarthy wrote, "Members of other Muslim ethnic groups lived in Palestine as merchants, workers, or students, but there is no evidence that their numbers were anything but minuscule." He also noted, "Had there been a large group of Muslim immigrants, it would have appeared in the calculated rate of increase from one registration list to another. Such an increase would have been easily noticed, and it was not there." The 1945 British Survey of Palestine, the most comprehensive government study of the Mandate era, spelled out in crystal clear terms the causes of Arab population growth. It is sometimes alleged that the high rate of Arab natural increase is due to a large concealed immigration from the neighboring countries. This is an erroneous inference. Research reveals that the high rate of fertility of the Muslim Arab woman has remained unchanged for half a century. Then there's the age-sex pyramid. Immigration typically brings young working-age males. However, the Palestinian census data showed a perfect pyramid, a massive base of children, and an equal balance of males and females. This is the hallmark of a population growing through births, not an influx of young foreign male laborers. Beyond statistics, there are no social fingerprints of mass immigration. No immigrant neighborhoods, no ethnic civic associations, no press coverage of foreign influxes, no labor competition with newcomers. Furthermore, Arab population growth in Palestine mirrored that of Lebanon, Syria, and Transjordan, countries with no Jewish economy. Palestine's growth fit the regional trend of high fertility and falling mortality. And finally, Jews didn't hire Arabs. The policy of Hebrew labor forbade it. The number of Arabs employed in Jewish enterprises in 1935 was 12,000, out of a total Arab workforce of 250,000. The science, the data, and the government records leave no doubt that the Palestinian Arabs are indigenous to Palestine. Was Palestine really a land without people for a people without land? The 1922 British census recorded 757,182 people in Palestine, of whom 90% were Palestinian Arabs. That works out to 75 people per square mile across the whole territory. Compare that to the United States in 1922, which had approximately 29 people per square mile. Palestine was more than twice as densely populated as America in the same year, and the population was growing fast. Population growth accelerated in the mid-19th century as infant mortality declined, driven by the Ottoman Tanzimat reforms. Later, British advances in sanitation, healthcare, and infrastructure amplified that trend. And this populated land was also a fertile, productive one. As even Mark Twain's own account makes clear when you read the parts the Zionists left out. He says of the Jezreel Valley, the broad level plain of Esdraelon, checkered with fields like a chessboard, dotted about its borders with white compact villages. When it is robed in the fresh verdure of spring, it must be a charming picture. In Banyas, he described a great grove of olive trees near a torrent of sparkling water whose banks are arrayed in fig trees, pomegranates, and oleanders in full leaf, calling it a sort of paradise. Bayard Taylor called that same Jezreel Plain one of the richest districts in the world. The Christian Zionist Lawrence Oliphant described it as a huge green lake of waving wheat, broken only by village-crowned mounds that rose from it like islands. Altogether, one of the most striking pictures of luxuriant fertility it is possible to conceive. Palestinian agriculture before the arrival of the Zionists in the 19th century was thriving. British consular tables, compiled by Schultz, show that between 1860 and 1880, Jaffa exported an average of 1.78 million liters of olive oil each year. Jaffa orange exports went from 171,000 cases in 1891 to around 1.6 million by 1913. The London Daily News wrote in 1870, "The oranges of Jaffa are esteemed the finest in the Levant, and the demand from abroad increases with each successive season." By the 1890s, Gaza barley had become a premium brand in Britain, with some 35,000 tons shipped annually to feed the empire's brewing trade. The ale flowing from British taps was quite literally made from the harvest of Gaza. Crossing the Gaza plain in the 1850s, missionary William McClure Thompson described it as a very ocean of wheat, while British consul James Finn wrote that the fields would do credit to British farming. Palestinians continued to be the backbone of Palestinian agriculture into the Mandate period. In 1945, the British Survey of Palestine found that the Palestinian Arabs, who accounted for under 69% of the population, produced over 78% of total agricultural output. So now you know. It was actually the Palestinians who made the desert bloom. So is it true that there were Arabs, but no Palestinians in Palestine? Let's look at the record. In the year 985 CE, a pioneering geographer named al-Maqdisi published his life's work. He devoted an entire chapter to Palestine and its capital. When asked during his travels where he was from, al-Maqdisi wrote that he answered, "I am a Palestinian." Mujir al-Din al-Ulaimi, the great 15th century Jerusalemite judge and historian, referred to our country Palestine in his famous History of Jerusalem and Hebron. Khair al-Din al-Ramli was a towering 17th century Islamic Palestinian legal scholar from Ramla. In his massive collection of legal rulings from the 1600s, he repeatedly referred to the region as Palestine, while also using the term our country. Official Ottoman maps consistently labeled the geographic area with its historical name, Ard Philistine, the land of Palestine. While the state divided the region into shifting administrative districts for tax purposes, like the Vilayet of Beirut or the Sanjak of Jerusalem, it treated Palestine as a distinct geographic and cultural entity that included several administrative districts. In 1834, that shared geography and regional culture turned political. Palestinians united as one in a bloody peasants' revolt to end an Egyptian military occupation. Historians point to this exact moment as the birth of the modern collective Palestinian identity. In the wave of Levantine emigration to the Americas in the 1870s, Palestinian immigrants were identifying themselves explicitly as Palestinians wherever they settled. They founded Palestinian civic, cultural, and sporting clubs. Lebanese and Syrians did the same. These communities organized themselves along national lines, treating their homelands as nations in waiting under Ottoman rule. In Chile, the professional football club Club Deportivo Palestino was founded in 1920, long before Yasser Arafat was born, by Palestinian immigrants who already knew who exactly they were. In Palestine itself, the Arabic-language newspaper Palestine was founded in Jaffa in 1911. It became one of the leading voices of Palestinian nationalism and referred to its readers as Palestinians. In 1921, the Third Arab Palestine Congress submitted a formal report to Winston Churchill. In it, the Congress declared, Palestine, therefore, with its air, water, lands, and roads, commerce, industry, and agriculture, is an inalienable possession of the nation, and neither England nor any other power can bring a foreigner in to share this inheritance. In 1936, a century after the 1834 revolt, the Palestinian nation rose up again in an armed uprising to end an occupation. The British crushed the revolt. In an editorial dedicated to a martyred leader of the uprising, the newspaper Palestine wrote, "The blood of martyrs is never lost. It nourishes the tree of liberty, whose roots lie deep in the soil of Palestine. May God have mercy on Sheikh Farhan al-Sadi, the noble elder who died as he lived, a believer, a fighter, and a patriot." The ancestors of today's Palestinians have lived on the land since the Bronze Age, more than 2,000 years before Israel's first mention in the historical record. In the rebellions of 1834 and 1936, Palestinians paid a terrible price in blood for their homeland. Unfortunately, it's a price Palestinians are still paying today. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please like and subscribe.